and the AdventHealth 400 is underway.
We think that we're less than we really are. Sharing stories connects people, it builds bridges, it breaks down barriers.
Welcome to Ignite, a series where we explore faith, purpose, and the stories that shape our lives.
We're your hosts, Preston and Reagan. Ignite is a student-run production out of the School of Journalism and Communications at Southern Adventist University.
We interview all different people, from singers and artists to business executives and communication leaders, all to find out the answer to the question, what ignites them?
We want to discover the reasons why they do what they do and how they find God in their personal ministries. If you'd like to stay updated on more of our projects and behind the scenes, be sure to follow us on socials and subscribe to our YouTube at Ignite SAU.
Our first guest starts with a leader in a fast-growing health organization in the United States. They partner with big names like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Disney, and the Orlando Magic, and they even have their own NASCAR car. We are talking about AdventHealth. Now, Preston, you also managed to intern with them. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, it was so much fun. I actually got to work in the Strategic Partnerships Division in their marketing department, but I was able to work with the Brazil national soccer team and the U.S. men's national soccer team, where they played each other in a friendly match, actually in Orlando. It was so much fun. And today you'll actually be talking with Garrett Nudd. He's the communications director of AdventHealth Georgia, and he loves guac.
And by guac, you mean like guacamole?
Yes, like guacamole.
Oh.
But his real passion is helping people find stories and helping people through their personal journeys, whether it's bonding through chips and guac or photographing what others might not be able to see. Garrett Nudd is all about it.
Today, I will be personally getting to know Garrett Nudd, discovering his famous guacamole recipe, and learning how he loves to help other people find value in their own stories, and how he gives them a platform to share them.
And if you can't tell, Reagan here loves guacamole.
So much.
Now, let's get into it.
Garrett, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to learn how to make the perfect guacamole. Talk me through your process.
Oh, this is exciting. Now, I don't know if it's perfect, but it's good, and we'll have fun while we make some guac. The ingredients are pretty simple. We have avocados, we have tomatoes, cilantro, onions, garlic, and I like to put some corn in mine sometimes for special occasions, and I would consider this to be a special occasion.
So, would you say you've perfected this recipe?
Well, I don't know that it's perfect. A lot of times it really depends on the quality of the avocados, because they carry the flavor.
Yes.
And so as the avocados go, so goes the guacamole.
Okay. And how long have you been working on this recipe to make it the best you can?
I would say probably about 15 or 16 years. I don't know for sure.
Okay. Now, I know everyone's wondering, how do you find if an avocado is ripe?
To be honest, I had to go to 3 different stores to find the perfect avocados.
Okay.
I think making guacamole is really a test of patience and optimism.
Okay.
Because you could just phone it in and buy the first avocados you see, but if they're not ripe, it's not going to be a good batch of guacamole. So finding an avocado that's a little bit squishy when you feel it, usually the darker they are, closer to dark brown or black, that's better, but if they're bright green, like the color of a lime, they're not ready yet. And so anyhow, you can buy them in advance and wait a few days. You can set them out on the counter, set them on the sun, or you can set them with bananas and they'll ripen faster, but then the bananas will over ripen faster too. So anyhow, there's different tricks you can do.
Interesting.
So now we're going to take the pits out. And there's a safe way to do this and there's a reckless way to do this. Yes. Because we're on camera and because I have wife and 3 children who depend on me, I'm doing the safe way.
Okay, good. As opposed to the dangerous way.
As opposed to holding it in your hand and doing that. So I'm using the AdventHealth cutting board.
Because it's always there for you.
To make sure that I'm safe.
So you have 3 beautiful daughters. What do they think of this guacamole?
They like the guacamole.
Okay.
Avocados are a superfood. We try to get our kids to eat healthy. And so guacamole is wonderful and they like it. So now we have to get the contents of the avocado in our bowl. And sometimes you can use a spoon, but I have a secret tool that my uncle bought me years ago, and it is dices the avocados into chunks, and it really does make the process faster.
Yeah. I watched you do them. Can't promise I'm gonna do it correctly.
No, it'll be great. You can't mess it up.
I feel like I can.
And now twist.
Oh my gosh.
And drop it in.
I did it.
Perfect. All right, very good.
Do you want more? Or
I think that's enough because we have
Okay.
to add the other ingredient. Now we need to put in, let's see, let's start with a little bit of onion. I don't like a whole lot of onions, so
Me
I just
neither.
put a little bit in.
Perfect.
A generous amount of tomatoes, and the thing with the tomatoes is if it is too spicy, you can add more tomatoes and it balances it out.
Interesting.
Fresh cut garlic, gotta put plenty of that in there.
Yes.
I think our bowl's getting too full. Put some cilantro, a generous supply of cilantro, and then let's go with some corn next.
Okay.
Why don't you do that, Reagan?
Oh, perfect.
I'm gonna cut lime.
Yes. Looks great. So this is wonderful for football days.
It is wonderful for football.
And I have grown up in a NFL household, watching football every Sunday,
Yeah.
playing pick'em. My boyfriend plays college football. So tell me about how you joined the Bills Mafia.
Oh, the Bills Mafia. Okay, it's gonna be hard for me to talk about that and do this at the same time. Go Bills. Jim Kelly vintage, baby. Go Bills. My Uncle Randy bought me this Bills boggin probably 30 years ago. It's kept my head warm for so many years. Don't need it today, but go Bills. So I was born in upstate New York and didn't live there for very long. Moved to Tennessee when I was 6 months old. But since my family was from there, just kind of grew up rooting for Bills.
Yeah.
And when I was a teenager, the Bills went to 4 Super Bowls in a row, 91, 92, 93, and 94. Unfortunately, they lost all 4 of them, which made for, it was devastating as a teenage boy.
Yeah.
But then the Bills went through a period where they were awful. And now that they're playing well again, they've got Josh Allen and they've just got a really strong team. They're excited to watch. And so, yeah, football and guacamole is a perfect combination.
It is.
Okay, so we've got our lime in there. Now I like to add lemon. And the reason I like to add lemon, it gives it a little extra flavor, but also it preserves your guacamole. So for example, if you're making your guac in the morning and the football game's not until at the night game or whatever, you can add lemon to it and it will last longer. Also, after you mix it all up and flatten it out, you can spread lemon over the top of it and put it in the fridge, and it won't, because guacamole turns brown.
Yeah, immediately.
It keeps it nice. The one more thing we need to add is salt. And so I like to use coarse ground sea salt, definitely not table salt, but a good bit of salt.
thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna mix it up.
Okay. So I've heard that you were on Dancing with the Stars in Calhoun.
We were in Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, it's not the one that you watch on TV. But we got asked, Calhoun has an annual Dancing with the Stars competition, and we got asked to be a part of that. And I thought, oh man, I'll never do that. They're gonna pair me with somebody who will make it awkward. And so I said, who are you gonna make me dance with? And they said, well, we were hoping your wife Joy would dance with you. And I thought, okay, well, now I can't get out of this. So anyhow, we talked about it and said absolutely. And we just had a blast. This was probably 5 years ago, I'm guessing.
Okay.
And, we got a instructor, and she taught us how to dance. And really it was to raise money for charity. So we were able to raise a little over $60,000 for the United Way and make a big impact in our community.
Yeah.
And so it was really something that I always look back on very, very fondly.
I'm sure that was a great example for your daughters as well.
Yeah, we had them involved. We had a video playing behind us. Our oldest daughter played her violin during a portion of the song. And it was a great bonding experience for my wife and me. We'd never taken dance lessons or anything like
Yeah.
that, so it was a lot of fun.
Oh, very nice.
All right, now, should we sample it?
Let's do it.
All right. Now, the chips, I don't prefer like store-bought run-of-the-mill chips, so these chips are
Right.
actually from Sol de Mayo in Dalton. Love that place, and they have the best chips, so go ahead and,
Perfect. This one's calling my name. Oh,
all
goodness.
right, you first.
Yep, so excited. And it's, okay, perfect. Oh my gosh. Okay. Perfect.
All right, here
Ready?
we go. Not bad.
So I know in the COVID era, my family started doing this pickleball.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes, I've heard of it.
And so we used that as a bonding experience that our family could do and get out of the house and everything. So what does your family like to do?
Okay, so we love to travel and explore. We went to Boston a few years ago. We went to California last year. We have our favorite places, but we love to explore. We love to eat out. My daughters are all into singing and performing and musical theater. My oldest daughter sings in 2 singing groups at Vanderbilt. My middle daughter has released a couple songs on Spotify, and so she's playing and recording all the time. And then our youngest, she's 10, and she just loves to dance and sing. And she's got a broken arm right now, so that's hampering her a little bit. But we love bonding over just shared experiences. I love being a girl dad. My middle daughter, she's into golf, and so she and I play golf a lot. And it's just being a father is amazing.
So in hospital communications, it normally gets the perception of being very negative. How do you work to highlight the positive stories at AdventHealth?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question. There are so many positive stories. You know, we have positive outcomes. People come to the hospital usually for challenging times, right? So, not going to lie, that's usually what brings people in, unless they're there to have a baby. But usually we have positive outcomes. People come away feeling better. They're able to, like a hip replacement, for example, they're able to do what they love to do again and experience that freedom and that joy in life. And so we try to highlight the positives. And then when negatives happen, like they do at any hospital, we surround them with love. Our mission is to extend the healing ministry of Christ, and so it gives us a great opportunity to minister to people, and we like to care for people, care for the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. So that's kind of how we focus on some of the good stories, and then acknowledge and help when we have unfortunate experiences too.
How do you work to really emphasize bringing people to share their own stories and to realize their own stories have a lot of importance?
That's a great question. So my whole career, I've really loved storytelling. As a photographer, I love telling stories. As a writer, as a journalist, as a communicator. And so I think it's just a passion of mine to let people realize that they have a story within them that needs to be shared. It does something for you when you tell your story. And then it inspires other people when they hear your story. Because then they realize, they learn through your story, and then they realize that they have value, or they can achieve, or they're loved, and that sort of thing. So I'm talking, I think, beyond the hospital setting, but just life in general, that storytelling is so important.
Yes. So even when you had your photography studio in Chattanooga, you realized that capturing people's stories are essential for capturing their special moments. So how would you say that your experience in wedding photography has really emphasized and helped you make people's experiences more whole?
Oh man, that's a great question too. So, you know, weddings are just this culmination of life and emotions and celebration and all these things. And so being able to, in most cases, work with a bride and groom for several months leading up to their wedding, to get to know them, to be a part of their family, to be a fly on the wall during that experience, and kind of make them feel like I'm not even there, but I'm capturing. We used to say in the studio, we capture moments that you didn't even realize happened in a style and sophistication you didn't even know you had. And so I loved when to give a bride especially an image where she said, I'd never seen myself look so beautiful, and that sort of, like, that meant so much to me. So that was always my goal. And I always told clients, and I truly meant this, is I put more pressure on myself, and I want you to have better pictures than you even want. So just that storytelling is so extremely important.
Yeah. I've grown up loving weddings, and I have a friend who's a wedding photographer, and like she'll post stuff, and I just think it's so beautiful and like so creative. The shots that she gets that isn't like normal.
Right.
So I think
right.
I think it's so inspiring and really captures like everything of the day, not just the ceremony and the special normal moments.
You know, and a lot of times it's, as a photographer, being able to anticipate the moment and position yourself, set yourself up for success, so you know that if she's about to do this, then he's going to come in, or he's going to come from this way. Not controlling the moment, but anticipating the moment, and then you're able to help tell those stories.
In your experience, like 9 years of experience at AdventHealth, are there any stories that have really impacted and changed how you do your job?
Yeah, so there was one specific story where I had, I was trying to find my purpose for being at AdventHealth. Like, we all come to work with a reason. What's your why for doing what you do? And I got a call one day from our director of patient experience. She's since retired, but she called me and said, can you come up to the lobby and take some pictures? And I said, yeah, sure. Tell me who I'm photographing. And she told me about this patient who had come in. She had just gotten diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and she had like a couple days to live. And so my mind starts racing and all this stuff. Well, when I got there, I realized what she wanted was, her daughter had just finished her junior year of high school, and the doctor or nurse asked the patient, what's the one thing that you wish you get to experience?
Yeah.
And she said, I would love to see my daughter graduate from high school. Well, it was summer of her junior year going into her senior year. Obviously, she wasn't going to live that long. And so one of the nurses called her sister in a nearby town, said, would you bring your daughter's cap and gown? We're going to do senior pictures for this girl, so we can give these pictures to her mom. She can see her daughter graduate before she passes away. And I get emotional telling the story because it was very meaningful for me to be just a tool in that environment, a tool to be used to do something good. And so we did the pictures. They weren't the best pictures I've ever done, but they were good enough. Ran them over to Walgreens and got them printed. I don't ever print my pictures at Walgreens, but it was what was necessary for the moment.
Yeah.
And then I went back to my office, and the nurse gave them to this patient. Several hours later, I was back in the hospital getting ready for a meeting, and this woman walked out of the elevator. She was the patient's closest friend, and she had been there when I was taking the pictures. And she gave me one of the biggest hugs I've ever experienced in my life. And she said, you have no idea how meaningful that was. And then the next day, the woman passed away.
Wow.
And so I'm not on the front line providing care like our nurses and our doctors, but I'm in a support role. And in that moment, I realized what my purpose was in being a part of AdventHealth.
Wow. That's really inspiring. So it's really important to show that the patients are more than their diagnosis.
I see what
and
you
I
did
know,
there.
I know you have a book called More Than, and it talks about how people are more than what they think that they are, and people often think that they are less than. So how do you use your work at the hospital to really show that people are more than, especially more than their diagnosis or their problem that they're experiencing?
Okay, so as a photographer, I realized pretty early on that a lot of people would focus on their insecurities when they're in front of the camera or when they'd see their photographs. And like you said, most of us, we think that we're less than we really are. And you know, the scripture says, like, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, you're bought with a price, you're a work of art. And so I said, what are the stories and instances in my own life where I've realized that God is showing me that I am more than I think that I am. I'm capable of more than I think I am. And look at where he's leading and put that together in a book. I also have 3 daughters, and so I'm very passionate about, my wife and I are so passionate about like instilling worthiness and value in our daughters as they grow through life. And so I think, again, I'm stepping a little bit outside of the hospital, but I think stories have a really significant way in shaping our values and our perceptions of ourselves and about others. If you realize that everybody that you interact with is a child of God and they're more valuable, like Jesus would have died for that one person, and they may get on my nerves, they may be annoying, they may drive me crazy, but Jesus loves them as if they're the only person in the world, the most precious, valuable thing. And so I need to treat everybody that way. Everybody's more than.
Yeah. What stories have you heard that really keeps you pushing to trying and to tell people and to show people that their stories have value?
Yeah, so a couple things come to mind, and I'll just share one of them in the interest of time. But my oldest daughter is a sophomore in college. She's at Vanderbilt in Nashville. Several years ago, we were vacationing in Boston, and she said, "Can we tour Harvard?" And it wasn't like she wanted a college tour. She just wanted to see Harvard. And we'd never been there, so that'd be fun. So we go and we have our tour, and we're with a group of probably 30 or 40 different people, mostly adults. There was a couple of kids. But it was great walking around campus. And our tour guide, I still remember, his name was Lewis. He was a junior molecular biology major from Southern California. And he showed us around, like, this is where Barack Obama studied law, and this is where, Matt Damon and Natalie Portman lived, and this is where Mark Zuckerberg built Facebook, and I was like, oh my goodness. And so anyhow, about halfway through the tour, he asked if anybody had any questions, and my daughter raised her hand. She was 16, and I thought, what's she going to ask? And so she said, how did you get into Harvard? Yeah. And it was like a bold, kind of gutsy question to ask, and everybody turned and looked at her, and I was like, oh my, why is she asking this? And so anyhow, Lewis said, he gave one of the best answers. I'll never forget it. He said, a lot of people think you have to have great grades and a lot of extracurriculars and, just really present yourself well. And he said, that's true, but he said, it came down to my story. He said, I was able to tell my story in a way that made Harvard want me to be a part of their story. I'll never forget that. And it was like a light bulb moment for me. This college junior, granted he was a molecular biology major, but he encapsulated in one sentence everything that I've really worked my entire career to prove, is that stories matter. And, whether you're an individual or a company or a church or a school of journalism and communication, are you able to tell your story in a way that makes other people want you to be a part of their story? That's really big. And that reminded me how important stories are. Yeah.
So how would you say that AdventHealth really gets their customers to trust in their hospital care to want AdventHealth to be a part of their story?
Oh man, that's a great question. I love that you asked that, because in our kind of smaller communities in Georgia where I work, we're in larger communities like Orlando and Kansas City and other places, but in Georgia, I think our goal as a system, but especially in Georgia, is to be a part of the fabric of people's lives. And so, yes, we're a hospital and we're there when people need care, but we also partner with the high schools and we help provide educational experience for the nurses. We donated an ambulance that was going out of service to the local high school so that they could start their EMT and paramedic training program. And we co-branded it with Calhoun High School and AdventHealth. It's called the Healthy Hive, and the school's the Yellow Jackets, so you can see how that makes sense. But so many community outreach things that we do, that just kind of builds this intrinsic trust. And so then when people do need care, they know that we're a trusted source to provide that care.
So just like guacamole is a perfect mix of just all the right ingredients to make it taste good, and our lives are just a mix of experiences that shape who we are. What elements have really shaped you to keep pushing that people are more than, and that their stories really do have value?
I think for me, it's all about my family. My wife and I met in college at Southern Adventist University, and we've had a beautiful life together. This is our 25th anniversary this year, coming up in a few months. I grew up in a family of all boys, and God gave us 3 daughters, and so I said, okay, God, you got a sense of humor. But you know, looking at my own personal background and upbringing, my wife's personal background and upbringing, and how we're taking those 2 very different experiences that she and I had and creating our own family experience for our daughters has been just extremely meaningful. And so, again, that's where I think I developed my passion for stories and instilling that in my daughters to just let them know that they're important and they matter and they're a work of art and they're a gift from God and fearfully and wonderfully made and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. So my last question, what ignites you?
What ignites me? Storytelling. I know we say it over and over again here today, but I love telling people stories. Whether it's through when I was a student, I wanted to be a newspaper writer, and then I wanted to be a photographer, and then I worked in PR and marketing, communications. Everywhere I've turned, it's been telling stories, and I think it wasn't until I came back to AdventHealth, 9 years ago, that I really realized that's what God wants me to do, is tell stories. So whether I'm standing on stage speaking to 1,000 people, or I'm sitting here, one-on-one and we're interviewing, sharing stories connects people, it builds bridges, it breaks down barriers, and so storytelling truly ignites me.
Very nice. I have this wonderful shirt for you.
Oh, an Ignite shirt.
So we can
Thank
match.
You.
Of
All right.
course.
I will wear this proudly. Look at that. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining us. I've had the most fun making guacamole, learning about you, everything. You're such an inspiration. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reagan. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching. If Garrett's story sparked something in you, share Ignite with your friends.
Everyone has a story, and we believe that they need to be shared. If you have a story you'd like to share, you can take a few minutes and go to the website below.
Also, we would love to hear your feedback about this new season on our Instagram and our YouTube. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Ignite.
So a year ago, we made guacamole during the bracket wedding, and so today we're going to do it during Jackie and Tony's wedding. Okay, here we go.
Do you have a special recipe? How does it work?
It's all in here. This is not included in all of our packages.